hour of the game that they played at Widnes last week, and they missed us too many tackles. And the back line, really, in these conditions, does have to show and play to its full potential. This is the most intriguing contest of this round because of where the two teams sit in the league table. And yet, even though the bookmakers think there's nothing to pick between these two sides, I have to fancy a massive win here for the Huddersfield Giants. They were outstanding last week and seem to have the belief and confidence back in the side. You know, they've drawn away at St Helens. They're also forced to draw when they played away at Wigan this season, and their form on the road has been impressive. To win here now in the south of France means more than just 2 points. It will be significant for them here. The confidence that this would give them with the remaining fixtures before we get to round 23, this really is a do-or-die game for both teams.
Third meeting of the clubs this season. Catalan led the Giants 10-6 with 7 minutes left in the Magic Weekend. Scored the Wolves by 8 tries to 1. And that was without the likes of Akuma Tai, Alex Mellor, Michael Lawrence and Tom Simons. Really hot day in Perpignan this afternoon, 31 degrees locally for the 19s game between these two earlier in the day. Temperatures would have dropped a little bit by now, but still heat will be a factor out there.
It isn't just the weather, though, that will be a test here for the Catalan Dragons. It's to play as well as they'll need to play without the presence of Greg Bird in the side. He seemed to suffer a very serious knee injury last week in their defeat at Widnes. And obviously we have Nabil Jalout, who will be making his debut in that back row. You know, besides Sam Moore, there was only Greg Bird making over 100 metres a game when the Dragons were playing this season. And as a result, somebody in the back row or in the forward side here now for the Catalan Dragons needs to fill the void left by the Australian back row. They need to stand up here and show that they have the potential to be a Super League star.
Well, if you're looking for examples or representatives from this Catalan Dragon side to stand up and do just that, Sam Moore, hugely industrious front rower, Paul Ayton and Remy Casti, but the man on your screen there, Tony Gigot, he could be the difference between the two sides this evening. We've spoken already about Jake Marmo, Ben, and how electric he has been and what a contribution he's made. Well, I feel just the same about Tony Gigot. He's a star for the Catalan Dragons.
5 tries so far this season for Tony Gigot, and a crucial one in the defeat of Hull here a fortnight ago. There's Luke Walsh. Got to try and 4 goals in the April victory at the John Smith Stadium. The captain there, Remy Casti. Hot conditions, as I was saying, has cooled down a little, will be a factor. 8th against 9th, 13 points against 12 points. There's Danny Brough, who will be central to proceedings, you have to think, as far as Huddersfield and their game plan is concerned.
Well, the referees, the man, also obviously under a fair degree of pressure. Only Lee have conceded more penalties than the Catalan Dragons this year, and when they last played at home they were penalised on 13 occasions. They need to reduce that. They had 4 players, in fact, sent to the sin bin when they played at Widnes last week, and they really haven't been doing what they need to do to give themselves the best chance of winning.
Yeah, they've had 12 players sin bin in Super League this season, more than any other club, as we get underway with the boot of Tony Gigot. And a perfect start immediately for the Catalan Dragons.
Well, that just goes to show the skill set that Tony Gigot has. It's a wonderful kick. He's found the gap between 2 players on that sideline. He's hit it hard and low. And Luke Walsh is pleased here now that with less than 30 seconds on the clock, they're going to be in an ideal attacking position.
Really cheap possession given away by the Huddersfield Giants. They've not switched on there. It's really important, even from the kick-off. That's 40, 50 metres they've given up. And I tell you what, there's one thing Catalan Dragons have been doing recently, and that's starting games well and scoring early.
And they've got a gilt-edged opportunity to strike early here. Working to the left-hand side to start with. And there is the debutant Jalout. Nabil Jalout. They drive in to within 5 metres of that line. Ayton waits. Goes to the right-hand side with Walsh. Manages to get the ball away to Casti as well, and Roberts in there quickly alongside Hinchcliffe for the Giants. Ayton. Walsh again, this time for Sam Moa. Turns 31 on Wednesday, the big man. 9 times a New Zealand international. Ayton goes himself this time, faced by Mamo. Jake Mamo does enough to hold him up as Myler moves in, gives it to Walsh. Walsh with a crossfield kick in these conditions, testing Murphy, almost came up for Fouad Yaha, but the Giants have possession in the end.
Well, initially it looked as though there'd been perhaps a knock-on by one of the Dragons players. Had it gone forward from Yaha into the arms of Jordan Turner. That's how it looked to me. You see, the referee and officials maybe have a different view, that it's gone backwards from Aaron Murphy, and the Catalan Dragons will continue this attacking phase here now. They've had a scrum 10 metres from the line, they'll receive a goal line dropout. Danny Brough just trying to calm his side down after what's been a poor start for the first 2 minutes.
You can really let the starts of games, particularly a long journey down to Perpignan, home crowd is partisan as they come. You need to be on your ball right from the very first whistle of a game in this environment, or a game can very quickly get away from you. The pace of a game can very quickly get away from you.
Huddersfield flying in and out of Perpignan in the same day for the first time. A change to their preparations for this one. Margalet plays the ball. Ayton has it now. Into Walsh. And Walsh away for Bousquet this time.
Well, the ball's gone straight from him. The referee has to make a decision to make, and he said it was lost in the tackle. Julien Bousquet back in the side here now. They need somebody to make a difference. Bird's out, Bousquet's back. But that's a bad first effort from him here. His involvement there. Arm around the ball.
His first try of last season, I should say, came in a 46-26 win at Huddersfield. 3 so far in 2017.
I don't expect any fireworks from Huddersfield here. They've been rattled in the opening 3 minutes of this game. Spent a large proportion of it in their own 20-metre area. The message from Danny Brough will be, get to the end of this set, get it down the other end of the field.
Well, they're rolling forward here now. A good run by Cruz Leeming. He made 10 metres. And that early in the game, he's making good ground here. Too many metres as Ikehefo keeps the ball alive to Wakeman and on to Turner.
Great break from Turner here. Trying his debut last week. Looking threatening again there. Let's move in field and Brough finds Marmo.
Move Remy! Back!
Casti upstairs with the tackle. Leeming. Brough. Short pass this time. Ollie Roberts. Leeming again. They're making solid progress here, the Giants. Ridyard with a kick. Gigo in the right place.
Well, the whole tone of that set was set by Cruz Leeming when he made that 10-metre gain early in the count. They rolled forward, they were dangerous, they took risks, and now they've trapped their opponents. They've certainly started now, even if they missed the start, they'll kick off.
That was Ayton, this is Moa. Hinchcliffe puts the shoulder in.
Those yards, those hard yards from Sam Moa and Remy Casti will continue to throw themselves at the opposition line. So valuable because it allows guys like Ayton to get out, really work that defensive line and make them think.
Tries in his last 2 Super League games, Sam Moa against Hull and Widnes.
5, move! John is not square!
Bousquet, last one. Walsh on the toe, looking for the sideline over on that far side. Mamo retrieves things. It's a decent chase as well.
Stand back, Sam, back, Paul! Go, that's one, well done, lads.
Now Danny Brough, short pass.
2.
Good hit from Remy Casti there. It was on Murphy.
And this is the man that's most difficult to stop. Jermaine McGilvey, just look at that. Hit by 2 men, bouncing forward 3 metres after contact. He's lost the ball, playing the ball, changed his mind, it appears now, to a penalty. On so many occasions, players struggle to tackle Jermaine McGilvey, concede penalties, but here the referee says no, They've not cleared the ruck. 2 men have a first goal, and there's 2 more joining. Even 4 men struggle here to contain the powerful winger that Huddersfield have.
Good opportunity then for the Huddersfield Giants, just 30 metres away from that Catalan line. And it's Shannon Wakeman. Takes the first carry, now Leamy away for Brough. Brough finds Ridyard. Further wide is Turner, who cuts back just a step away from the challenge of Ayton. 6 minutes gone, 16 away from the line as Ikehihifo not wrapped up, able to offload. Leaming in there again, and Wakeman, the ball's come free though. Miley gets there, this could be 6 more for Huddersfield Giants. Mamo had it, but there's a knock-on call by the official, Chris Kendall.
Well, you get the feeling this is going to be a high-scoring game. The conditions and the attitude of both teams are to move the ball around. He's done that though with it, the accuracy. With the ball gone forward from Ridyard eventually to Jake Mamo, and there's already water being brought onto both these teams. Control of possession, probably more important than in any other game this season.
Well, the first test has been passed by the Catalan Dragons. Looking back at Huddersfield's last victory over the Warrington Wolves, large proportion of the tries scored there came from within the 20-metre area. Indication that Huddersfield, although they may struggle to get into position, you give them that territory and possession and they can make it tell against you. So Jerome Guisset will be very, very pleased, notwithstanding that first look at their line, notwithstanding the penalty given away against Jermaine McGilvray. They need to tidy up in that department.
Margaret plays the ball for Ayton, and now Gigo into Bousquet.
Third, move Oliver, Ryan back, right, go.
Roberts with the tackle for the Giants. Pick up was from Ayton, feeds Casti. Hinchcliffe clings on at the bottom.
Right, go, 4.
Walsh.
5, move Oliver.
Last one
Back,
coming up
go,
for the
5.
Catalan Dragons. They're just inside the Huddersfield half.
Outside.
Walsh just drills a kick into touch over on that far side again. Safety first again.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying as well, to acknowledge the conditions. I understand there's going to be a water break on the 20-minute mark in this first half, and that is a reflection of the conditions you're playing, and it's also a reflection of the style of play that you've seen there from the Catalan Dragons. Luke Walsh has no hesitation in getting that ball over and out of play. It's a big forward pack, is this Dragons pack. Now, they are more acclimatised to the conditions than the visitors this afternoon, but you're talking about temperatures in the high 20s, early 30s. It's a really smart tactic that to get the ball out of play.
This is Turner then for Huddersfield.
Right, go, that's 1. Sam, you're off. Sam, come on. 2.
Rapira.
Move, Sam, we move. Right, go, 2. Well done.
Knock on.
He's dropped it.
Ikehihifo.
That is the surprise. It was almost as if he wasn't expecting the ball thrown at him and bounced off his chest forward.
Sam.
Perhaps a surprise to receive the pass, but a worry here now for the Huddersfield Giants. Back inside their own half. There's a relatively slower look. These scrums aren't being formed as quickly now. We've been going hard and fast for almost 10 minutes. And it's telling on both teams.
Wait for the outcall, boys. Head down.
Ikehihifo being outstanding for the Giants this season, ever present, making his 27th consecutive appearance tonight. Gigo evaded Cudjoe initially, and the skipper comes back to complete the tackle. Myler into Moa. 3 in the tackle though for the Giants. Myler, short pass this time.
Move, Ryan.
Adam O'Brien. Ayton ended off by Walsh.
4, move, Cruz. Hold.
Margaret will play the ball. Myler manages to get the ball away. Ayton, not the best pass. Not able to tidy up this confusion between Walsh and Bousquet. They're going to keep hold of it though, the Dragons. And the kick on the last from Luke Walsh, testing Mamo again.
Well, you can tell why they've kicked. Kristen Inu is a great player at catching the ball high in the air, but he didn't get there in time. Mamo took it cleanly, and the referee now just wants to control the restart here on the tap 20. Huddersfield relieved to be away from that end of the field, and it's first time we've seen Leroy Cudjoe carry the ball forward.
Handles, boys. Hold, go. That's 0.
Catalan Dragons with the better of the opening 10 minutes, but still 0-0. Huddersfield looking for points themselves now.
Push, 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 push.
Casti brings his considerable weight to bear on proceedings there.
Even with 4 men, they couldn't stop the momentum of McGilvery.
Good momentum here, coming from Roberts. On the back of that, and Leaming's pass isn't the best. On the bounce finds Hinchcliffe. That was Ferguson. Turner and Murphy.
Surrender. Stand free, go.
Now Brough. Ferguson again.
4. Move, Paul. Back. Go, 4.
Leaming. Brough just 15 metres away, the Giants now. Ridyard over the top. Finds McGilvray from a standing start though, but it's good work from the winger. McGilvray plays it just 5 metres away, and then the ball comes free. It's a penalty in favour of the Giants. The marker's not square at the play of the ball, I don't think.
Actually close to a professional foul, that one. He'd gone back inside, mile left on the deck. And it's a despairing leap from an offside position. He knew what he was doing was Tony Gigo. I think lucky to get away with just a penalty.
Cruise with me. Cruise in line with me.
More pressure coming up then from the Huddersfield Giants. Ikehihifo.
1. Movement.
Stopped by Moa.
Wait. Go.
It's the Dragons try line. Brough. And the step from Ridyard. Important tackle from A2. Leaming. Brough. Ferguson. One-handed offload. Murphy in at the corner.
There has to be a question mark over obstruction here, though. I think that's why we heard the referee's whistle. The initial impression was that one of the Catalan Dragons may have been impeded, but not to the referee. He thinks it's a try. He just wants to check that again. And they've transferred the ball well to the left wing and managed to get Aaron Murphy to slide in at the corner. But have they done it legally? Pass comes wide here to Brough. And then it's beyond this pass, isn't it, with Jordan Turner. On the next play, I think we've gone back here. There is a play of the ball following this, isn't there? And we'll get to that point here now. Look, they've got 4 players on this side of the field with Ferguson and Turner. Jake Mamo's moving slowly with the number 1 shirt to the left-hand side of the field. Lots of guys in white shirts. Now then, at that point, is Luke Walsh obstructed from getting towards number 12, Dale Ferguson? That's what the video referee has to determine.
Well, I think whatever the outcome of this, in the final analysis, the Catalan Dragons, and particularly Ford Yaha, will be disappointed there, because Christian Inu has managed to get himself in the right position, albeit a little late, and he's made the tackle there on Ferguson. Ford Yaha, making the same mistakes as he's made before, coming in unnecessarily. They're looking at the grounding, so I think probably there's not enough of an obstruction here. It's Luke Walsh actually sticks an arm out himself. Yes, his trailing leg's caught, but Turner goes through the line there.
I think it's a 50-50 call, isn't it, here? And the Dragons fans are hoping that they get one in their favour here. It probably isn't quite obstructed. I would have worn a try if they put the video ref next to my name on this play.
Well, ultimately the try's been scored because Ford Yaha has been dragged out of position, and that's irrelevant as to what had happened on the inside with Luke Walsh. I'd be surprised if this gets turned down, particularly with the reference from Chris Kendall upstairs. Robert Hicks, the video referee, he'll be having to adjudge as to whether Luke Walsh was impeded from helping, but the ball had gone. The ball had already gone. That's a very, very tough call. The inclination there would be to go with the on-field referee. I would imagine that might be the last look you'll get at it. And I would imagine also that Robert Hicks will return a verdict of try.
You're absolutely right, John. Aaron Murphy over for his 6th Super League try of the season, and Huddersfield strike first in Perpignan.
Well, you can see the energy levels of the players draining over the last 5 minutes. It started fast. Martin Ridyard, like a lot of the halfbacks, have been taking on the defenders, and even though it's a slow play of the ball, the Dragons' defence doesn't adjust in time. Inu slips off his defender, and Fouad Yaha is even in the wrong place, which allows Aaron Murphy, a hard-working and honest winger, to slide in the corner for the first 4 points.
Yeah, you give full credit to Aaron Murphy. He's kept his position. There's a knowledge amongst Super League players. Fouad Yaha does that, have that as a defensive issue. can find himself attracted to a centre. A wide running back rower. You keep your shape on the outside of Fuad Yaha, you may well find yourself with a bit of space.
Danny Brough, 35 Super League goals this season so far. He's missed with that effort though.
Well, they've gone this side and they may continue to go to their left wing, attacking towards the area where Luke Walsh and Krishnan Inu, Fuad Yaha, those three players, maybe the hot spot that they're aiming for.
Aaron Murphy, a double against Warrington last week. That was his first, or were his first Super League tries since touching down in the Easter home defeat to the Dragons, as Huddersfield just about collect the restart in the shape of Murphy into the tackle of Inu. Turner.
Move, Fuad!
Get up!
Directing a lot of traffic towards Luke Walsh, one of the two main playmakers for the Dragons. Familiar tactic again, particularly in hot conditions. Send plenty of work their way defensively. The idea being the focus is not on the attack when they've got the ball in hand.
Offload, finds Ikehihifo. He's still going. Sebastien Ikehihifo, former junior Kiwi. Hands on to Ferguson. The Giants are ramping things up in the heat. Brough sticks a kick over the top. That could be really dangerous, and Walsh was there, just about got it, but he's going to be trapped in his in-goal area.
Brilliant play from Danny Brough and the Huddersfield Giants. They were aiming for back-to-back tries. In the end, they're going to get a back-to-back set. The goal line dropout, he's happy. His team are energised at present by having the ball. It's far easier than defending in these conditions, and Luke Walsh has thrown the ball over the dead ball line at the present. Trying to buy a few seconds here and recover. Not handle the pace or the intensity with which Huddersfield are playing. And Jordan Turner early in this game has caught the eye. It's been an intelligent recruitment decision for them midway through the year, and one that just might put them into the top 8 by the time we get to the end of it.
Didn't work out for Jordan Turner at Canberra. Signed a 3-year deal.
Well, Ikehihifo, the first guy to take the hit up for Huddersfield in the repeat set, largely responsible for earning that repeat set as it stands. Great break up the middle of the field, then lent his weight to the tackle from Brough.
Strong carry from Shannon Wakeman. And now Hinchcliffe. Important contribution there defensively from Bousquet. Castian there as well. Brough again. Ridyard's pass goes behind Cudjoe, picked up by Mamo.
You see the touch judge on now, he's flagging the air. Referee blows the whistle, he's going to stop the proceedings. It's usually for a late challenge on a player who's passed the ball. That's usually what we see the official come on to assist the referee with. I don't believe it will be, it's not that incident, is it? Surely not. Can't be a high tackle here.
It's all right, Remy. It's all right. Sam Moore.
In my opinion, it's a penalty.
Remy! Sam!
Well, they're looking at late contacts. The name that popped out of the referee's microphone there was Sam Moore.
From the touch room, it's the late hit. You need to be careful and time it better. Okay, it's going to be a penalty here until this one. Penalty. Time will come.
Penalty going Huddersfield's way then.
I don't think they'll be tempted to kick for 2 points here. They want 6, don't they? They sniff some blood. And they want to make their opponents pay.
Move, Sam!
16 minutes gone. 4 points the Giants lead at the moment. Looking for double figures perhaps at the end of this attack as Ridyard finds Turner. Turner cuts back inside. The ball's come free again. Gigo ball steal, I think, is the verdict of Chris Kendall. Penalty again coming Huddersfield's way.
Remy, penalties, okay?
Penalty, try is the mantra. Wakeman. He's got that over, has he? Shannon Wakeman. The very first carry after the back-to-back penalties, and Shannon Wakeman gets his first Super League try of the season. He made his first start against the Dragons in Newcastle for Huddersfield, and now he gets his first try in Super League against Huddersfield as well.
Well, the first problem was the initial contact here. Sam Moa up high, Remy Casti up high, is able to squeeze underneath. That's the culmination of 2 or 3 successive sets in defence, and that penalty for the late shot. Well, those are magnified in conditions like this. It's an easy one. You'd imagine that Danny Brough would extend the lead to 10 points, and that's been a productive first opening quarter for Huddersfield.
Shannon Wakeman, key to this Giants machine, ever present in 17 League and Cup in his debut Super League campaign with the Giants. Spent last year with the Illawarra Cutters, grand final winner with them. There's the angle that Danny Brough has to put Huddersfield in double figures. No problem at all. Huddersfield lead by 10 points to 0.
Well, they've had the majority of possession and they're making it count, and they're close to opponent's line here. Shannon Wakeman uses great leg drive, reversing into defenders. You often see bigger men do that, gaining ground while the back's still towards the try line, but turning round in time to successfully ground the ball and give his team a 10-0 lead at present. The Dragons not looking quite strong enough in the middle to cope with what the visitors are throwing at them, and with the added possession that you get again then from the penalties and the restart here, things are only going to get worse.
Gigo with that restart, collected by Brough. Good hit from Casti.
Move, Sam! Wait, Paul. Go. Remy off the ball.
Leamy. Ikehihifo
2.
into
Move,
Margaret.
Paul.
Good
Back.
opening start.
Wait.
Good at first 20
Go.
minutes
2.
by Huddersfield. There's a caveat though, and there'll be a reason they wanted to start fast.
Move.
And again, we come back to the conditions. There's one team in Super League that's more equipped to that. Sounds daft me saying it, doesn't it? It's the team that comes from Perpignan. Here go Huddersfield again though.
Brilliant from Turner again. Blistering break coming up. He's cut back on the inside. He's got support from Danny Brough. Danny Brough's got Murphy with him. He won't need him. Danny Brough gets Huddersfield's 3rd try. It's 2 in 2 minutes for the Giants.
Oh dear, Catalan Dragons. I was just saying how they're going to come through the heat, maybe be stronger in the second part of that game. Well, Jordan Turner shows Kristen into a clean pair of heels. Danny Brough back on the inside of a despairing challenge from Fuad Yahar. He's a sight to see, isn't he, in full flight. Danny Brough on up support on the inside. There was a chance he was going to send it out to Murphy, but his angle was better anyway, and aren't those fans pleased with the side that their side have made?
Danny Brough has doubled his tally for the Super League season.
Robert.
Came back from suspension with 6 goals in the defeat of Warrington last week, and a change of kicker for the Giants.
Yeah, Danny Brough was just holding his neck a little funny before. I noticed in the walk back to the try, the conversion attempt following the Wakeman try, maybe he's caught a stray boot or had the neck twisted. Well, it's not bad. It's not a bad deputy, is it, Martin Reid? He had great strike rate in his career.
Absolutely. 10 goals for Lee this season.
Yes.
No mistake with that one either.
Well, the rules of rugby league mean that the team that score receive possession again from the kick-off, and Huddersfield have made that count, haven't they? They've gone back-to-back tries. They almost did it earlier, and with Danny Brough there, the players flowing forward here. The thing we know with this sport, and particularly in these conditions, that if you get possession, you're more likely to receive a penalty, you're more likely then to score and receive possession again. So the Catalan Dragons need to handle the tough points here. They're 16 points behind. There's lots of time for more than 16 points to be scored. It's about being able to cope in the difficult periods. We've already had 3 tries, so there have been significant breaks in play to allow the players to take water on board.
This moment now is an official water break because of the weather and because of the conditions. Could not have come at a better time for the Catalan Dragons. So it's exactly what you're saying. There needs to be something there to arrest what's happened, the role that Huddersfield have got on. I mean, Huddersfield would certainly not have wanted to break now. It's the equivalent of another half-time. There we go, have a look at Danny Brough. It's taking some attention from the doctor. There's an issue there, obviously, with the neck, top of the shoulder. The reason he handed the kicking duties over. You look at the expressions on the faces. Very dry, very hot out there in the south of France. It could not have come at a better time for the Dragons.
Well, they're searching for a leader here, a voice, somebody to tell them and give them some direction. They've been trying very hard for 20 minutes, but it hasn't gone the way that they all imagined about 3 hours ago when they turned up at this ground. and they need some good advice, and they need to stay positive, because this team here are on a roll. Little Luke Robinson there in the middle of that huddle, passing on the positive messages from the sideline here. This is exactly what they thought would happen.
Now, this is worrying from a Huddersfield Giants point of view. There's no doubt, although he's got a decent cast around, and that's still the main man in the Huddersfield jersey. Seems to have been given the okay for now by the club doctor.
Tony, we've got a head assessment.
It's not much of a break, is it, for Walter?
Right?
Just got about enough time to get it down your neck,
now, guys.
catch your breath, and we're off again.
Time back on.
Second quarter continues then, and Huddersfield in control and in possession.
One. Move, Mikel. Hold. Go.
They'll see him on with the tackle.
Two.
Powerful carry, Sam
Move,
Rapira there.
Remy.
Look at that, what a
Back
charge, his
square.
first
Hold.
involvement.
Go. Two. Go. Third. Move, Richard.
Solid
back.
again.
Hold. Go. Free.
From Rich Stone's side, Leeming
Play
for
on.
Hinchcliffe.
Play on. Surrender. Stand. 4. Wait, Sam. Go. 4.
Leeming, that was Wakeman. Now Ferguson.
There's two of the players, Paul Ayton and Kristen Inu.
Ferguson's got the ball. Time off.
An accidental collision of their heads. Both of them dropped to the floor here. This will be another significant stop in play here. All trying to get their arms around, maybe a finger in the eye perhaps from Paul Ayton on Kristen Inu. Can't quite see what's happening.
It's another opportunity for the rest of the people on that park to lower the heart rates, regain some composure. Yeah, it's something stray from Ayton. Ayton goes down after the secondary hit
All like that, okay?
from
I don't expect
Margley, I think he's off. Louis Anderson, who maybe come off the bench, but certainly a finger in the eye. Yeah, he's caught a stray one from Paul Ayton, the left hand of Paul Ayton. Paul Ayton gets cleaned out half a second later from Anderson, who's come on as a substitute replacement for the Dragons. There's no lasting damage there. Kristen Inu able to continue. Take one more look at this. It's an arm round the back to see. Didn't even see it coming. Painful, very painful.
Time back
those.
on, last tackle. Okay, Dale, go.
Last tackle coming up then for Huddersfield
Clear.
after that break. Tackle out on the full. Trajectory just out there.
And the Dragons need to take this now and turn this as a turning point in the match here. They put pressure on the kicker. They forced an error. We've talked about the control that Huddersfield had on the game. They had great control on the ball here, almost faultless for the last 20 minutes. They've offered a chance here. And we see what the Dragons have got with their attack, which hasn't looked that sharp of late.
Wait. Go, that's 1.
Ayton for Myler. Gigo lurking, that's a really good run, but he's lost the ball.
Knock on.
Gone forward to Duport. Knock on confirmed, much to the anger of Tony Gigo. He is frustrated, the very first carry.
Well, that's where Tony Gigo lets himself down. Ball in two hands, but it's a loose carry essentially. And all the remonstrating with the referee afterwards, at that point there, he's arguably got the ball in the wrong hand. Yeah, yes, go to the line with the ball in two hands. But this, I don't agree with this. You know, venting his frustration at the referee, looking not to concede a penalty. It's the one aspect of his game where he still lets himself down, because he's a clearly very talented player.
Cruz, head in the scrum. Ball in, let's go. Out.
Martin Ridyard to feed the scrum.
Surrender.
McGilvray.
Stand. 1, wait.
Tackle of Thornley there.
Well done.
Leeming for Cudjoe.
Surrender. Stand.
That's better defence from the Dragons,
Go.
moving forward far quicker. Mikel Simon on there now in 19.
Third. Move, Paul. Hold. Go first.
Rapira will play the ball. Leeming. Now Ferguson.
4.
The left
Move,
edge again for
Remy.
Huddersfield.
Hold. Go 4. Remy, stay out. Okay, now.
Leeming runs, and then a good ball for Rapira. Rapira has space initially. It was a good tackle, had to be as well from Adam O'Brien. He got the quick play of the ball though, and Mamo finds Brough. Brough to the right hand side, and Cudjoe now kicks in field. Gigo under no real pressure though. But they tackle him just a couple of metres away from their own line.
Tackle 1.
Well, controlling his temper and managing the team's expectations is the challenge, isn't it, for not just Tony Gigo, but the other Dragons. who know that 16-0 down isn't what they imagined or had hoped for. But they have got the potential to play it back from here. We'll just see a break in play as it looks like, is it Sebastian Ikehifo?
I think it's Cruz Lehman up. I think perhaps following the... doesn't look big enough to be Ikehifo. Yeah, it's after the offer. Look at Samoa. Right shoulder, late. You know, again, potentially very dangerous. Good cover tackle on the end from Jalut, who got back. He's impressed me, actually, on his debut. Jalut wearing the number 31 for the Catalan Dragons. As we look on now, Huddersfield doctor has been busy in this first 15-20 minutes. It's a whiplash sort of injury that you're getting. Not expecting the hit. Samoa has ducked the shoulder, and the head is relaxed. The head and the arms, the upper shoulders, they have to be relaxed to deliver a soft pass, as it was to Sam Rapira, who charged downfield.
Well, now that the referee's looked at this on a couple of occasions, it looks as though he'll either change his decision or perhaps put this on report.
We're going tackle 1. The incident's going on report. Okay, we're going to go tackle 1 now.
Chris Kendall just confirming exactly that, Phil.
He appears, is he coming from the side? He's coming out off the pitch at the moment. Danny Brough still received lots of medical treatment. He's still out there. And the Dragons now faced with a 95-metre plus target. They want to put their points in this set.
Trailing already by 16 points to 0. Big ask from this position.
Time back on, tackle 1.
Jigo.
Go, play on, all on side.
Aiton.
A like-for-like replacement. Adam O'Brien off the bench for the Huddersfield Giants. He replaces Cruz Lehman, who's off for the head assessment. That's normal procedure and proper procedure these days. I'm glad to see we're looking after our athletes, making sure health safety comes first. It's a rough and it's a tough game. And when you face a man like Samoa, it's like crashing into a truck. He's really impressed me, this boy, Jalut.
Jalut, 28, the second rower. Came to Perpignan as a 16-year-old junior. It's his second spell with the club. After 4 years at Pier, hampered by injury throughout that time.
Well, he's just notable, Ben. Just his enthusiasm, long, rangy type. You know, just the sort of injection of enthusiasm that you need at this stage in the season.
Stand! Go, 2, play on.
Murphy plays it for Brough. No escape, though.
Third.
3 Catalan defenders.
Off the ball! Go third.
McGilvray. O'Brien. Short pass and they've lost the ball again. This could be a great opportunity now for the Catalan Dragons.
Once again, Huddersfield sending traffic the way of the half-backs. Well, Richie Myler's answered in the affirmative there, got right underneath the ball, forced the mistake from Roberts. Yes, you're right, another great opportunity for the Dragons.
Myler, they need something quickly. Simon into the tackle of Wakeman.
Movement! Back, go, 2.
Aiton. Myler shifting it to the right-hand side. It's a great ball from Anderson. Back on the inside. Collects it, tricked.
Move, Sam!
And it's Mamo who managed to effect the tackle, using the feet as well there. Myler with some space. Myler with a kick. And nothing that Jermaine McGilvray can do.
Well, the best passage of play we've seen from the French side here today. It was a wonderful pass from Anderson to Inu on the far side, which came back to Anderson. The Giants survived with some brilliant scramble defence. And a scramble again here now, even though the referee has penalised them for being offside on this play. He gets 6 more chances close to opponent's line, and you get a feeling here now, with almost 26 minutes gone, they need to make these count.
Trying to do that right now. Casti just a couple of metres short of that line. Penalty Catalan. Aiton for Walsh.
Surrender!
Now Samoa.
Stand, Ryan! Go, that's 1.
Myler. Jigo. Superb from Tony Jigo. They needed something and the fullback delivered.
That's quality. That's really high quality stuff. Myler out the back, 2 front runners, ball in 2 hands, ghosted round. That's what he tried to do earlier. Cudjoe was able to get a hand to him on this occasion. It's the good front line running. Julian Busquets, I think, was one of the line runners who went through, and he's a class act. is Gigo. We've already covered his drawbacks, his flaws, his temperament perhaps being one of them, but there's no doubt in the class of that boy.
Remy, we've got 10 minutes without a penalty now. You keep listening.
Already got to try at Huddersfield's expense in the Easter victory at the John Smith Stadium. Added a drop goal that day as well. Also touchdown in last year's defeat of the Dragons here.
On the goal line. Oh, okay.
Well, he's just trying to bring his heart rate as low as possible here now to rest and recover and help improve his kicking accuracy. He's been very good this season, Luke Walsh, but this is that awkward distance, 5 metres in from the sideline.
Thanks, Liam.
It's the most difficult 10-metre part of the pitch where kickers are tested from. And in the blazing sunshine in the south of France, he's under pressure here to turn the 4 to 6.
It's easy to see where the flaws are in the game of the Dragons, isn't it? You know, with a side of such quality, and a side who can score tries like that. Refer back to the stat we gave you at the start of the commentary. Just 8 tries in 4 games. It's clear that it's not with the acts of scoring tries and the setup. It's what they're doing in the middle in terms of the discipline.
Luke Walsh, 54 goals for the season. He's added another one here and cut the gap to 10 points, 6-16 now.
Great width from Paul Ayton there with that pass, and then 2 option runners in front of Tony Guijo. His space, his pace, and the 2 players he had outside opening up that gap for him.
Yeah, there's no doubt as well, it's the positions taken up. It wasn't Busquets, it was Remy Casti who sent that line on the inside. But the guys on the outside of him, Ian Thornley and Vincent Duport, holding their lines. You'd imagine Duport, who was out of shot, would have been hugging that touchline, just keeping the attentions of Jermaine McGilvray away from the idea of coming in and putting a shot on Tony Gigo, who's ghosted through. Timely score.
First carry from Busquets.
Ryan! Hold. Go.
Into Hinchcliffe. Now Simon.
2. Move, Ryan! Back, Paul. Go. 2. Well done.
Moa.
3rd.
Into the shoulder of
Move,
O'Brien.
Paul. Go 3rd.
Clough in there. And from the bench for Rick Stone.
4.
Good hit on Casti.
Movement. Go 4.
That was from O'Brien, and Ayton moves in quickly.
Outside. Play that.
Myler's
Play
kick.
that. Tackle 1.
Played at.
Tackle 1.
Even for the cameraman there. Back to 6, it's a fresh set for the Dragons. This is danger.
And now right through the heart of that Huddersfield defence goes Mikel Simon.
Go 2.
Ayton, as the noise levels ramp up in Perpignan. Thornley's pass. Duport has some space. Shut down by Kudja, and they forced him into touch. That's great defence alongside Mamo as well.
Well, he appeared caught in 2 minds and then took the worst option in the end, didn't he? Having paused, the decision then to go again with 3 players in front of him seemed a strange one.
It's really naive, Phil. If you're Vincent Dupont, you know you're not the fastest, you know you're not lightning from a standing start. Your strength is your strength. With Vincent Dupont, we've seen it so many times. What he should do a stop and go there on Leroy Kudjo for. Really naive play. The Dragons will be quietly fuming with that decision from that man. Wasted opportunity.
Head in the scrum, please. Get close, Ian. Adam, your head needs
Plenty
to
of
be in the
experience,
scrum.
Duport, 29 now, 18 times a French international.
Time off. Ryan, your head needs to be in there. Your head needs to be in there. Yeah. And now your head in there. Time back on, ball in.
It's almost as if the referee's explaining the sport to some people who've never played it before. That was
1. Move!
Eventually,
Go.
Chris Kendall was happy with the scrum. Murphy.
Surrender!
No one's happy with the scrums. Scrums are fast these days, we know that.
Alex Mellor having a big run out wide on the left-hand side of the field.
Wait. Go for
Shut down by Inu. Clough pushed back.
Move!
Repelled by Busquets.
Go 4.
O'Brien. That's Rapira, just delays the pass. Picked up by Ridyard.
Go 5.
Last one coming up. O'Brien
Outside.
finds Brough. And it's a high one. Yaha. Nowhere near that in truth. Could have gone anywhere.
Well, I think he was relieved, wasn't it? It wasn't one of Danny Brough's better kicks. We've seen him already kick the ball out on the full. That one is not hit to the best of his ability. And there's no pressure really on Yaha having Guijo to try and catch that one.
Well, the referee's mic actually picked up Catalan players suggesting that a little bit of pressure on the kicker
Leroy,
might be a good
get
idea.
back with a touch judge.
Fuad Yaha, I'll
To
tell you
me.
now, I've been
Back.
under a few of those. He'd no intention at all of taking that, and was really glad that
Back down, Jake, head in.
it was a skewed
Paul,
kick.
Let me head in the scrum, head in.
Not managed
Yo,
to,
head in, Paul. Paul,
to
he's
find
been
its
there.
intended target.
Paul, let's go. Time off, come on, Luke. Needs to go through
Again.
the legs as well.
The scrum picked
to go
apart
through
by
both
the
sets,
official
Luke.
Chris Kendall. Not happy
Ball in.
with Luke Walsh there.
Out, time back on. One. Move, Adam! Wait.
O'Brien on
Yo,
Inu.
that's one. Surrender!
Two relatively
Go,
slow
Luke.
play the balls. The Dragons need to speed that up.
Michael Simon now.
Third.
Been outstanding since he's come on.
Hasn't he just?
Play
He's
on.
really added another
Go,
dimension.
go.
Take the workload off Sammo, Remy Casti, Julian Busquets. So's this man, Vinny
Ball.
Anderson, and he's been really dangerous
Move,
down that right
ball.
edge.
And they've both delivered the
Go,
urgency that Catalan really need. Here is Walsh then on the back of that. Two
Five.
good carries.
Move.
Casti put to ground by
Five.
Cudjoe. Quick play the ball. Last one coming up. Walsh forces the Huddersfield defenders into retreat,
20.
and Murphy
Leave it.
catches
20.
inside his own in-goal area. Great work, 20-metre restart.
Well, the margin of error isn't wide, is it? The ball's just gone about a metre past where the Dragons wanted that to fall, just in the field of play, to allow Christian Inu and Co to carry the defenders
Wait.
back over the line and force
Yo,
another
zero.
goal line dropout. We've not seen a tremendous amount from Jake Mamo yet in this
First.
game.
Move!
Generally speaking, you get at least a try a match from him. He's had a lot of hand on the ball as Ikehefo gets the team up to the halfway line.
Move now, Sam!
Appeared and scored in
Back.
each of the last 7
Right.
Super League matches,
Go,
Jake
two.
Mamo in blistering form. O'Brien's pass for Clough.
Third. Move! Go third. Outside. Outside. Okay.
Doesn't find touch on that far side, and Gigo with
Surrender!
3 or 4 initially, and then
Stand!
Ferguson
Knock
makes
on.
the tackle for Huddersfield, and then a knock on.
Well, it's either a lapse in concentration or he's just been lazy, because as we start to see the last few minutes of this first half, play start to tie, he's looking all over the place for excuses, but he was the one who had to get up and play the ball properly.
I'll tell you what, Phil, it's no good Tony Gigo asking Chris Kendall to look at the screen. I'll tell you, as a back three player, a wing or a fullback, you cannot give the referee any reason to think. You've got to be so secure in these situations. You're in a corner, it's a rush, it's a mistake. He's tried to play that too quickly. You've got to be whiter than white in those situations, because it's a situation where it puts incredible pressure on the rest of your team. That's one of your main responsibilities as a back three player.
Danny Brough teasing because it's a Mamo, and Mamo's still going.
Move!
Just held up,
Go, that's one.
a metre short. McGilvray moves in. Brough, now Clough.
Two. Move, Paul! Goal line. Go, two.
O'Brien. Brough's pass for Ridyard this time.
All pass.
Forward pass, says Chris Kendall, and a reprieve for the Catalan Dragons.
Well, Martin Ridyard hasn't spent that many hours at the wheel here, trying to drive the attack that Huddersfield have thrown. They passed it wide here, not familiar with the timing or the angles of his teammates, and it looked, didn't it, clunky, wasn't efficient, wasn't smooth. The referee stopped it, and the pass was thrown forward, and that's a massive relief here now for the Dragons, who are 10 points behind, just over 5 to the break.
Ball in.
Cannot afford to concede again.
Out, play on.
Walsh's pass.
One.
Ikehefo.
Expect a little more from this as well. Fuad Yaha, the likes of Thornley and Vincent Dupont, they need to get in, because these are oppressive conditions. You've seen the 2 wingers there taking the opening 2 carries. Thornley with a third, very clearly trying to give their forward pack a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather. They've had to do an extra set in defence because of Gigo's error.
Played far too much of the match in their own half of the field, the Catalan Dragons, and it's proving a challenge just to get out of that area. Myler for Casti.
Move! Go, 5.
Over halfway now, but this is the last one. Gigo. Walsh takes the aerial route again. Mamo.
Backwards.
Oh, he spilled it here.
Play on. Play on.
Thought for a moment it was going to come up for the Catalan Dragons and Busquets, but they've escaped Huddersfield Giants. There's a problem in back play as well.
It had been a great kick from Luke Walsh, the one that Jake Mamo was unable to cope with, but delighted that his teammate Aaron Murphy was there as Busquets tore it through, and it fell into the safe hands of Aaron Murphy. The ball does go backwards, and then it's kicked on, isn't it? Busquets tours it straight into the arms of Aaron Murphy, who's then awarded a penalty here with Busquets in an offside position. They've had a little bit of luck there, the Huddersfield team.
I'm going to put Huddersfield Giants fans on notice as well. Danny Brough once again in back play, does not look a well man at all. I don't think it was a head knock that he took. I think he's maybe got his neck twisted or something. I don't know what that motion is. What's that the international sign for?
Well, maybe a migraine. We saw that recently in another match, isn't it? He's complaining of a headache in that part of his head, or lack of vision from that part.
That would fit with what we saw earlier in the attempt for the kick following the Wakeman try. Was really stretching the neck out, the neck muscles, top of the head. He's obviously suffering.
Alex, time back on.
Motioning to the side. He's maybe struggling with his vision a little bit. That would, again, it would all lend credence to that.
Big loss for Huddersfield, who continue in possession.
Move, Sam, off the ball! Go to.
Paul Clough plays the ball. Leeming, Hinchcliffe. Short pass this time.
Third. Move, Remy! Back, Sam. Wait.
Roberts.
Wait. Go
wants to play this. Leeming. Inside 30 metres away from that Catalan Dragons line.
Hold. Go for.
Kick from Ridyard. Gigo well positioned, but he's got plenty of work to do, and they're going to get a repeat set here. Huddersfield Giants.
Well, with Brough off the field now, it comes, I think, to Hinchcliffe and Ridyard here to direct and control what the Huddersfield team do. It's a wonderful kick there, wasn't it, to force the ball again. Probably a disappointing outcome there for Tony Gigo.
He needs to clear his head. He needs to clear his head, because the option there is just get to the floor. He's given up a yard and gone back into his own in goal and invited the challenge from Ridyard. You know, it's a tough decision to make, because you know you're going to probably wear one to the top of your head or something like that, but you've just got to, in those situations, he received the ball on the try line. Find the four, Tony.
Drop out, finds Rapira. Moves into the Giants half of the field now. Big hit there. Mower and Rapira going head to head.
Hold. Go one.
Leeming. Now Roberts. Good run there from the 21-year-old Irish international.
Back. Go two.
Leeming. That was Ridyard. Clough comes back this way into Simon's challenge.
Paul. Go three.
Leeming with some space.
Still free.
Shrugs off one. Gives it to Cudjoe, and Cudjoe
still free.
Trying to take the defenders the wrong way. Mamo, crossfield run, lateral run. Options opening up for him now. One of them is Hinchcliffe. Comes back into the middle. Had support there, Hinchcliffe couldn't let the pass go in the end, and Cudjoe picks up. Cudjoe with a kick, and Mamo is there. Mamo's touchdown. Jake Mamo. He's going to hand this one on to video official Robert Hicks. Here's Chris Kendall. Jake Mamo looking for his 9th in 8 matches.
I think it is a try. It came off a Catalan defender, didn't it, as the kick's put in. You almost get a money-back guarantee with Jake Mamo at present. There's a try in the game somewhere for him. He makes himself busy. We've seen little of him for the first 35 minutes, but he was at full pace across the pitch in one direction. Look where he tracks from here to score the try. Keep your eyes on the left of your picture here. He travels a long way to get interested in this play. He passes 4 of his teammates, and he's the only one pushing up here to offer a chance for Leroy Cudjoe. Was he in front of the kick as it goes in? He's clearly within a 10-metre radius of the player attempting to catch the ball, but from that angle it's almost impossible to determine.
I think he's timed that perfectly.
Well, we know what the video referee's looking for. It's to see whether Jake Mamo's feet, either of them, are in front of the ball when it's kicked. He'd be in an offside position if that's the case. But you'd have to say on that angle, the touch judge and referee are probably the 2 best people to determine This is one of the downfalls of the video referee. If the camera angle doesn't give you the clear picture.
The try is given to Jake Mamo.
Well, I think you give credit where credit's due, Phil. As you said, the work he did off the ball to put himself in a try-scoring position. You know, you've no idea what can come with efforts like that. Don't forget, he already skirted a good 40 metres across the line, and pulled and bent and manipulated that Dragons defence. Hinchcliffe came the other way, with Jake Mamo following him up. And then as Ridyard looks to improve Catalan's lead, take them out to 22 points to 6, you saw a couple of seconds ago Luke Robinson, recently retired from the Huddersfield Giants, just giving the indication there's just 2 minutes left. Hang on for 2 minutes. Let's get to the half-time break with no more challenges from the Dragons, and that's a very, very good half's work.
Martin Ridyard successful in his first attempt. Continues that 100% record. Huddersfield lead by 22 points to 6 now.
It's a fantastic first half, isn't it, here? Leroy Cudjoe we've seen little of. The ball's come through and Jake Mamo scores. If you asked every Huddersfield fan in that ground, what would your dream scenario be for a half-time score? I think 22 points to 6 lead will be what the wildest dreams would have hoped for. It's been a brilliant 40 for them. And they've got maybe a chance here with a few seconds left to score again.
You picked this as well, Phil. We were talking before we came on air. I was predicting a lot more of a stern resistance from the Catalan Dragons. What made you think that Huddersfield, I know they won 3 out of the last 5, but what makes you think that they were going to come and do this?
Well, they were good last week, and I think they're going to get even better. To me, they're a team that deserve to be in the top 8. Been a bit unlucky with the results, but they've not been unlucky in this game, although he's lost the ball here now. Wow, 20 seconds. Is there a chance here for the Dragons?
Well, they certainly think so. Rushing to pack the scrum. They're likely going to have 1 or 2 plays. Oh, the referee's not. They've packed the scrum in the wrong area. That's an extra wasted 5 seconds. They're going to have a single play now from the scrum. There won't be time to get down and play the ball, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, good teams score from scrums. Good teams can score tries directly from scrums. This will tell us how good Catalan are.
Huddersfield primed to move into that top 8 with victory here. They would leapfrog the Dragons into the playoff places.
Guys, I'm going to put time back on if you're not going to lose
exceptional
here.
half for them so far. Can it get even better?
Pat down. Ball in. Out. Time back on.
Here we go. From the scrum. Drop goal attempt from Myler. Nowhere near in truth, and Mamo launches the counter. As the hooter goes. Huddersfield 22 points to 6 at the interval. It's been a commanding first half for the Dragons. Tries from Murphy, from Wakeman, from Brough, and Jake Mamo just 3 minutes short of half-time. It's the Huddersfield Giants who are in control to take this to a 2-1 aggregate over the season. They're ahead at the break by 22 points to 6. More to come.
Were hot and hurried in the first 10 minutes, but it was the team that managed to get over the try line on the first occasion. There was a question mark from the officials about whether Luke Walsh had been obstructed by Jordan Turner. That was overruled by the video referee. He said no, that's still a try. He accepted the decision. He questioned it, but thought no, there is no way that Walsh is prevented from making a tackle. And Aaron Murphy was pleased to squeeze in the corner for their first try. And then it was simple brute force. Shannon Wakeman backing into defenders and proving that he had too much desire The Dragons weak in the middle of the field, unable to cope with a big front rower who made them 10-0 ahead at that point.
That was 18 minutes. Just a minute later, Ikehihifo's offload to Brough and then to Turner, who skinned Christian Inu on the outside. He's been a welcome addition to this Huddersfield Giants pack. And then a nice bit of footwork from Danny Brough to finish. We take a look at it from the reverse angle. You know, this is a man in some space, ball in the right arm, in the right hand, the left hand, which is the right hand, and back on the inside. The supporting Brough is a key man, is Brough, and he's missing for the second half. He wouldn't have mattered at that point. And this was the lead up to the Tony Gigot try. Their response on 27 minutes wasn't a repeat set from there, it was a penalty given away. And from that penalty, Gigot ghosts on the outside, showing all of his class to get outside Leroy Cudjoe, who was drawn in unnecessarily by a great front line run from Remy Casti.
Well, the tracking device on the Huddersfield fullback will show which parts of the pitch he's in, and invariably it's most of them where the ball is. He's just about, according to the officials, in an onside position, and Remy Casti can't quite take the catch as it goes through his arms. All he does is slow down the momentum of the ball and invite Jake Mamo to pounce on it in that in-goal area to stretch the lead here. A significant one, I feel, in these conditions. 22 points to 6.
Catalan only won 1 of 8 in league.
For a period of time before then, and yet with the control that they have on the game, not just the scoreboard, the manner in which the game's being played, the parts of the field, the ill discipline from the Catalan Dragons has of course assisted Huddersfield here in what they've attempted to do in the first half, and they've taken full advantage. They've been very good. I only suspect as the game wears on we'll see more from Jake Mamo, the fullback for Huddersfield, who just seems to impress. You know, they've been unlucky. They fought back from 14-0 down at St Helens. When the chips really were down, they stood up and they put in a sensational effort to come back and earn a draw against the Saints. They drew against Wigan, and at this stage you'd have to imagine they're going to win in the south of France.
They've lost 6 of 11 visits to Perpignan in Super League since 2009. Has been prepared to get this second half underway.
Yeah, crucially, Ben, it's Danny Brough who's kicking off. We left the field, and what we assess with all our medical experience as a migraine possibly. Well, there's obviously been some work done in the half-time period. And Huddersfield fans will be very, very pleased to see him back on the field. But the first task is one of defence with a rejuvenated and rested Dragons side.
Yeah, Rick Stone will be delighted to have Danny Brough out there for the second half. Had a spell in Marseille himself 30 years ago, Rick Stone. In the off-season with Newcastle. We know all about these conditions.
4, move, cruise.
4 gone for Catalan Dragons.
Outside.
Walsh, boot to ball. Mamo is there though for the Giants. Trying that first half.
Well, interestingly and pleasingly for me, he decided to keep that ball in the field of play there. They want to back themselves and their fitness against the French outfit. Would have been easy for him to allow that to roll over the sideline. They want to go toe-to-toe. They think they're quicker perhaps at playing this game. If there's going to be a response from the Dragons, you'd have to imagine it's going to be in this first 10 minutes here. They're going to throw everything they've got. You need to throw more than that if you want to stop this fella, Jermaine McGillvray.
Go 4.
Absolutely, Jermaine McGillvray, 3 tries in his last 2 and a hat-trick in a 60-16 drubbing of the Dragons on Sky back in 2013.
Go 5.
Huddersfield's top marksman this year in Super League with 10. And the kick
Play on.
sends Fouad Yaha back. The chase is good, led by Mellor.
1.
Catalan Dragons start this set just 10 metres or so away from their own line.
Well, it isn't just about the number of tackles you make, but the quality of them, and you can see at present, more often than not, Huddersfield's quality is better than the French side. They're controlling the guy, then they're controlling the tempo. Look, there's 3-4 guys around there. And that's a pretty slow play of the ball that allows Huddersfield to get set and come forward again.
Good run from Moore at some cost. Made his Super League debut at Huddersfield as a substitute with Hull. And now Casti looking for the offload. It doesn't find a teammate. Duport to run this back into the shoulder there of Ikehifo and Leeming. Ayton. Walsh to the air. Bounces, could come up for Anderson here, and he's pinched it. And Anderson, can he get the ball down?
Or was it stolen from Anderson? That's the next question. The referee says play on.
Jake Mamo did that initially, and Huddersfield continuing with Brough.
Well, there's a big question mark about how that ball came out. But if ever's a lesson there, you've got to take those balls on the full. It's your full-back, that's your job. They're difficult when they go up like that. Luke Walsh doesn't need an awful lot of time to prepare for a spiral bomb. But it looked very much to us that ball was helped out of the grasp of Louis Anderson.
Huddersfield allowed to continue, and Clough with the latest carry for the Giants.
Go 2.
Leeming. It's Ikehifo.
Third.
Turns into the tackle of Anderson.
Back ball. Go
Anderson, a Wembley winner against Huddersfield 8 years ago with Warrington.
Close the door! Close the door!
And a good run from Ferguson. He's been impressive so far in this one. Dale Ferguson, the Scottish international.
Go 4.
Leeming.
5.
Clough.
Move! Sam, back!
Last one.
Wait! Go, Sam.
So it goes back for Danny Brough, kicks with the left foot.
Play on.
It's a brilliant kick, absolutely brilliant. He's patient, does he tackle him in the air? That's the only debate. Ball's bounced and come up.
Well, once
the referee says goal line dropout.
Now, what's the rule on that? Once it's bounced, is there still a rule for tackling in the air? It's an interesting one. I'll tell you the first rule. Again, it's a good kick between Jiggle and Duport, but one of the two of them has got to make more of an effort because the ball's sat up. Mamo has taken him in the air, but just overhearing the referee's microphone there, making an explanation to a Catalan Dragons player I think we're all learning something today. Unsure as to what the rule is there, and that is clarified by Chris Kendall. Once the ball's bounced...
Well, it doesn't make sense, that, does it? Because if the ball bounces high in the air, you can leap and catch the ball as high as you could from a bomb. So
them's the rules, though, Phil. That's what we're dealing with at the moment.
What was impressive was the kick, wasn't it? The patient approach that Danny Brough put in there. They've trapped them down. They've been brilliant at forcing goal line dropouts into tries. Can they do it now?
Just 20 metres or so away, and there is Brough. Finds Ridyard. His pass for McGilvray. Escapes the net. Comes back. Gets the momentum into Ayton. Huddersfield with their tails up here early on second half. 22-6 ahead as it stands. Brough going through. Brough carving through. And Brough with the opener in this second period. Just as they did in the first half. It's not been given yet by Chris Kendall. He's going to ask for assistance from the video official Robert Hicks. They struck first in the first half through Murphy. Has Danny Brough done similar in the second?
Well, he may have had a problem with his vision in the first half, but he had no problem seeing the gap here in the defensive line that Catalan have in front of him. Luke Walsh has moved up quickly to try and close down the play, but he's got on the outside of Louis Anderson and on the inside of Luke Walsh. Steps back on the inside, and I can't see any obstruction at all. This, to me, has 6 points to 28 written all over it, and another 6 points from the number 6 for the Huddersfield Giants.
Already on the mark in that first period. He has a double in Perpignan, Danny Brough, and Huddersfield turn the screw on the Catalan Dragons.
Right, such a crucial time for a score. They've now sandwiched half-time with 12 points. The try from Marmo on 38 minutes, and then Danny Brough inside the opening 5 minutes of the second half. Lovely show and go, beating the defence for pace and then skirting round to improve the angle. And isn't he happy, boy?
You know, it's only a couple of minutes ago we were almost looking at Louis Anderson scoring at the other end of the field. That would have been a probable 6 points. We've had a 12-point shift here in this score, and the Huddersfield fans will be delighted with that.
Delighted with 2 more points from Ridyard, who continues the kicking responsibilities.
He's throwing the ball, a lot of players moving around, and all of them expecting Brough to pass instead of worrying about him with the ball. And he's the one who's put 6 more points on the scoreboard. Significant lead here now for the visitors.
Yeah, it's a distinctly lopsided looking scoreline, but it's a fair reflection of what we've seen so far. Catalan Dragons, well, they've been below par for a while now. Bar that gritty win against Hull FC a fortnight ago on this ground, they've looked bereft of ideas in recent weeks. And Lauren Fraser-Newell, he was the first casualty, wasn't he? The coaching casualty. Because of the doldrums they found themselves in. Well, on this viewing, they've a long way to go before they get back to the heights when we used to enjoy watching the Dragons throwing the ball around and really giving us something to scream about.
They actually parted company with Fraser in the wake of that defeat to Huddersfield. They led the Giants 10-6 with 7 minutes left in Newcastle, but that turned into an 18-10 defeat, and that was the last straw for the Dragons directors as Catalan pick up possession again.
Well, if you're searching for a turning point, perhaps a tackle there from Kristen Inu forcing the ball free. But we need something very, very special from the Dragons here now, and there's a desire, isn't there, a determination from Huddersfield. Swarming in defence, 3 men, good control on most occasions.
Myler, space for Gigo, finds Thornley.
Surrender.
Going to touch again, Duport on that far side. Myler again.
It's all still looking a bit laboured for the Dragons, isn't it? You'd expect Luke Walsh and Richie Myler, and they need to be the dominant voices here. They're good when they get to the edges, and I tell you what, they've been granted another extended shot at this Huddersfield line. Ill-disciplined late in the tackle count.
Well, Paul Seguier was the one who received the penalty. Paul Seguier takes it forward again. He's recently onto the pitch. Brings some enthusiasm and energy. Can he bring the points?
Only 19, Paul Seguier made his Super League debut the day after his 19th birthday. De Costa's pass for Casti.
It's good defence by Oliver Roberts on the goal line. He's a hard man to stop, his Casti.
From that range, as well as Walsh manages to get the ball away. Anderson knocking on the door here. Catalan Dragons, this could be crucial And they might get over here. It's come back for Anderson. Tony Gigo over the top.
Well, they're going to get another 6 here. He's touched in flight by McGillivray, then pulled into touch. It'll be a scrum down, head and feet Catalan Dragons now. I'm not saying that the Dragons need to score on this set, but my feeling is if they want to stay in this game, they need to be the next team to score.
I thought it was very impressive defence from Huddersfield on their own line there. They've had to work very hard. You picked out Oliver Roberts for one effort on a tackle. They're gasping for breath, but they've done enough so far to hold the line at.
Let's get out them rope.
If we stop the clock here now.
Back here, guys. Right, water up, guys.
It's down to Myler and Walsh here to find a way through this impressive Huddersfield line.
We're going now. Let's go.
They need points and they need them quickly.
Wait. Bowling. Out.
Huddersfield won 17 of the 30 previous Super League clashes between these two as Inu gets past one. There's 3 more to bring him to ground.
Oh, go.
That's almost a sin bin, isn't it? Picking the ball up from behind the play. Well, I've never seen that Ikehifo involved there. Almost like a dummy half for the other team.
Seguier getting through an awful lot of work. The longer this goes on, the more fatigued, more stressed this Huddersfield defensive line's going to be.
Only just a couple of metres away when they started that tackle, and Bousquet gets them to within a similar range again. Thornley, Myler, Simon cruises onto that. Da Costa on the bounce, untidy, picked up by Seguier though. Need to make the most of these chances. Walsh, Myler throws a dummy, goes without the ball. Brough picks up. What's the support like? Mamo is there, but it doesn't connect.
Well, this I imagine will be the Dragons' ball again. The referee just checking here, and that's right. Remy Cassidy's pleased here. Listen, we've got to play quickly, he's saying to our team. Huddersfield knew that the Dragons have thrown the ball backwards. The ball goes backwards from Myler. It's picked up cleanly by Brough, and he attempts to counter-attack. But by taking the risk of throwing the pass to Mamo now, it's gifted another opportunity here.
Another Huddersfield player down in backfield. This time it's not Danny Brough. Danny Brough leaving the field, of course, in the first half with, I think they call it in France, mal à la tête, Ben. This looks like another one. It's Ikehifo. But this is a lower limb injury by the looks of it.
Leroy, penalties, yeah? No more?
No, it's an upper body injury.
Okay.
Well, the referee was just warning then the Huddersfield team and captain. He wants no more penalties from them. There's a possibility, he doesn't look well, does he? He'll have to leave the field, I'm certain of that. It's a bang on the head here.
Well, that's really interesting. There's no obvious contact, just a squeeze really. Maybe his neck and head it's been squeezed in a funny position, but he's certainly suffering. Anyway, the Catalan Dragons, here's another shot.
Ikehifo injured, and there's possibly more punishment now coming the way of the Huddersfield Giants. Desperate to score, Catalan Dragons. Pour Seguier.
Two. Shannon! Go line. Go two.
Da Costa. Now it's Walsh back on the inside, but Mamo has picked it up, and Mamo is quick. Jake Mamo, 90-metre run, 90-metre special, and he's going to extend the Huddersfield lead if this is allowed to stand. Mamo over for his second, got one in the first period as well. The try confirmed by Chris Kendall. Jake Mamo now 10 tries in 8 matches. Been absolutely red hot since his introduction from Rick Stone, and Huddersfield extend the lead.
Well, they did something very similar last week against Huddersfield. In the end, the referee disallowed it, said the ball had come out unfairly to his team. On this occasion, there is no doubt, ball thrown to him, puts himself in the right place, and he has got the pace to score. We've seen Jamie Shaw score a spectacular try. This player has the similar ability to get the ball from his own line and travel the length of the field and put points on the board. That surely confirms an away win here now for Huddersfield. They're attempting to throw the ball backwards Luke Walsh looking for that inside pass to Tony Gigot, and it goes the interception there, well by the opposite fullback, man on man.
Do you know, for those of us who were watching, privileged to watch the victory by Lee over Wigan on Thursday night, will remember Ryan Hampshire's anticipated read of a blind pass from Joe Burgess. That has all very similar hallmarks, and that speaks to the class and the quality of the athletes that we've got on show here in Super League. And this occasion, it's the ability of Jake Marmo. He's reading not only the intentions of Luke Walsh, but the positioning of his opposition fullback, and has put himself in exactly the right position. 32, can Ridyard make it 34-6?
No problem at all from the boot of Martin Ridyard. Well, Jake Marmo got a... Oh, it's been ruled out, in fact, and 32 points to 6 it stays.
Commentator's curse, Ben.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
The flags say no, and Ridyard, well, he'd be a little disappointed with that, I think, because it's a high-quality kicker.
It looked good from where you were sat, Ben, didn't it? So that's why you thought it was a poo.
Absolutely. Jake Marmo trying his debut in the home defeat of Catalan before Easter, and 2 against them in Perpignan.
Move, Ulrich! Wait, go, that's 1.
That's certainly the try of the game, I think. Jake Marmo second. You know,
2.
really the high point of what's been, or what is looking to be a really fruitful visit by the West Yorkshire side down to the south of France. It's an exotic location, as an intercept is tried and failed by Christian Inu. It's an exotic location this time of year, popular with tourists and holidaymakers, and it's a big weekend as well for the team, and arguably the hardest challenge for a Super League team on their annual trip, or sometimes biannual trip, to Perpignan, is focusing on the game with all the other distractions that are there around. And we've seen nothing but professionalism from the Huddersfield Giants. They've come here to do a job. And on the look at that scoreboard and the time gone, they're going to be knocking the Catalan Dragons out of the top 8. In fact, they're going to replace the Catalan Dragons in the top 8.
Altogether happier memories for the Giants from back in 2008. They were beaten 48-0 here. As Bernard Gouache watches on, he will not be impressed with what he is seeing. The Dragons chairman.
2, move! Wait for the goal call.
Oh, it's been a way below par performance for the Dragons, even given the recent travails. And Huddersfield now look full of lure, including this man, Jake Marmo. He's been a sensation since he's joined the Giants this season. Took him a while to recover from that ankle injury that he sustained the closing stages of his career at Newcastle. But he's been a welcome addition to a Giants side.
Go for.
And that Giants side attacking now down the right-hand side, and it's Ollie Roberts just tied up by Thornley and Gigot there, Castien. Last one coming up, they're only 5 metres away. Short side play. Oh, and they're in. Ghosted in, really, McGilvray. No answer at all to the flying wingman there, who extends his Super League scoring spree to 11 tries now. And Catalan Dragons, well, we saw a shot of the chairman a few moments ago. The defence just melted away there. Well, you
can either say that's clever play by the Huddersfield Giants, it would have been tried if they're playing touch rugby, or appalling defence from the French team, who drastically need something to change here. They've conceded what will probably get close to 50 points by the end of this game here. Now, if the confidence drops even further, and Huddersfield are just going one way up the league.
Well, it's a real danger for Huddersfield, for the Catalan Dragons, and for Bernard Gouache as well, because on looking at the defensive record, there are only 2 teams. Well, Lee Centurions have got equally bad defence as the Catalan Dragons coming into this game. The only team with the worst defence is Widnes, and they're 2 of the 3 teams that will be below them in the table at the end of this, and they need to grab a hold of the scoreline here and try and stay in touch, because this is looking like spiralling out of control. It's not just losing a position in the 8. The points difference here that they're suffering could really be damaging for them.
Great point, John. It could be so tight at the end of the season. There's 2 more points.
Now, I'll tell you why as well, Ben. It's the fact, as we see Jermaine McGilvray walk through here unaided, where you finish 9th, 10th, 11th or 12th will determine how many home games you play in that middle 8 series. Now, if they're not back in that 8 at that cut-off point around 23, you would say the best chance the Catalan Dragons have would be playing more of their games at home, 4 of the 7 at home. The last thing you want to do is capitulate in a game like this and have that come back and bite you 7 or 8 weeks from now by having to play away in the Middle Eights more often than on this ground.
Jerome Guisset and Michael Monaghan with plenty of work ahead of them. Tackle comes in from Casti on Roberts. Huddersfield seem to have had the ball almost exclusively in this second period, as Mamo tries his luck on the left-hand side this time. Faced by Luke Walsh. Stopped by Luke Walsh. Leamy. Clough's pass. Tackle comes in from Bousquet. Wakeman plays it. Then the kick from Ridyard. Exactly what Rick Stone would have wanted. They'll hump the mistake now, the Giants.
I think there'll be a few teams and the coaches watching this match, hoping that they're, well, probably checking the fixture list to see whether they do face the Huddersfield Giants in the remaining games left until round 23, because this is a team here now rolling higher on confidence, with an underdog mentality, but with a belief that they can beat the best teams in this league. And the performance here today demonstrates that. Brilliant in defence when they were tested on their own line in the second half. There was a period where the Dragons had numerous plays close to the line, but they were good enough to hold out, and they're good enough to score from a variety of different positions and a variety of different players.
Well, interestingly, Huddersfield over the next 3 or 4 weeks, St Helens travel to the John Smith Stadium, followed by Wigan, and then Huddersfield go across to the AJ Bell Stadium, where we were 24 hours ago, to witness the Red Devils being put to the sword by Hull FC. So this has turned into a really interesting last 6 or 7 rounds before that crucial cut-off point on round 23, Ben.
And that round 23 fixture is at Hull as well, John, so plenty of work for Rick Stone ahead.
Plenty of opportunity as well, though, for them. That's the way that they'll be looking at it now.
Okay.
The mental ramifications of this match as well, swapping the top 8 for the middle 8, you know, the bottom 4, everything could hinge on this match, and they've performed brilliantly in Perpignan Huddersfield tonight.
Well, Bernard Gouache and the Dragons board will be learning a bit more about their players here, won't they? It's easy to play well when you're a team in front, but to show that fighting spirit when you're over 30 points behind on the scoreboard and have the enthusiasm to bounce into the tackles is the test now that the Dragons have got. Rushing forward there again, Casti leads the line.
Move now!
Up the Huddersfield on-rushing player.
Outside!
Brough just gets the kick away.
Cruz!
Under pressure.
He's outside.
It's a great kick. Whether or not it goes into touch, that's almost a better result, because the chase led by Cudjoe was superb.
And that's what Huddersfield do when they do it at their best. They chase Danny Brough's kicks and turn it into a competitive advantage over the rest of the sides here. We know his accuracy, the length he can gain on them, and Huddersfield in there with some quality defence complementing the kick and hopefully gaining some territorial advantage.
Big shot from Shannon Wakeman on the back of that kick from Danny Brough. Da Costa.
Move, Cruz. Hold.
Lehman comes in with the tackle. Hooker moves in again for Casti this time.
Well, he's one man that, given the current problems that the Dragons are having and where they find themselves in the table, I've all the sympathy in the world for Remy Casti, because he's a top quality player who's never given more than 100%.
Great ball from Myler to Thornley, and now Walsh just got it all wrong there. You mentioned Remy Casti, John. 233rd Super League appearance today.
No, he's been an absolute stalwart for the Perpignan-based team. As we watch the end of a rare break from the Dragons, and doesn't that just sum up the Catalan Dragons' day? Slack, unfocused, badly executed.
Move off the ball. Hold, go. That's 1.
McGilvray for Brough. And Clough now.
2. Move, Ulrich!
Michael Simon in the tacklers there. He's let nobody down either. Mentioned Casti's contribution, immense as always, as Ridyard just spins away from one. Simon is there.
Move!
Well, he's done well, hasn't it? A late replacement for Lee Gaskell. Hasn't played a lot for the Huddersfield Giants, but growing in confidence and learning the cohesion and habits of the teammates around him.
Puts the kick in, just one over the top. Gigo is there, so is the Huddersfield chase. He's trapped just 5 metres or so away from his own line.
That's why these kicks are so valuable. We saw one from Danny Brough, a big raking field across and against the grain, and then a little smart dink over the top by Ridyard, both into the corner of Vincent Dupont, the bigger of the two wingers. The winger who probably takes longer to turn and pick up speed to get back. And Huddersfield know that if the kick and the chase is good, they're at a stage in the game now where, such as the fatigue amongst the rest of this team, it can pretty much set them up for a clean defensive bill of health in the following set, which is what we're looking at now. End of the set, just outside the 30. Brilliant stuff, and pressure on the kicker.
Who does get the kick away, Richie Myler. It's not the best.
Coming in.
Mella collects for the Giants.
Go.
Only 10 metres away from halfway though when they start this set, and Murphy.
2. Move. Wait. Go. 2.
Brough. That's McGilvray.
Play on.
Dumps the ball back in the tackle, and O'Brien alive to the possibilities. Ikehihifo now just turns Bousquet around. Great ball as well for Mamo on a hat-trick, of course. Jake Mamo, he's kicked ahead, he's collected, and that is another sensational try from Jake Mamo.
Oh, Mamo, with your hat-trick try, I thought your second was good.
He's got a try on the field, John. He might spoil the party yet.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I tell you what, there is so much to like in this. Ikehihifo stepping back on the inside. What about the acceleration? And that is exactly where a top-class fullback should be. He sees Gigo taking down and cutting down the area. It's a kick. The bounce-up wasn't clean. He had to reach back to pick it up. Only thing we're looking at, I would imagine, would be the grounding. That's a great pick-up. And I'll tell you what, well, from where I'm sitting, that is a fantastic hat-trick and a superb performance by Jake Mamo. Great performance by the Huddersfield Giants.
Hat-trick against Castleford last month, Jake Mamo. Is he going to repeat the feat in Perpignan? He has 3 tries for Jake Mamo, the one-time New South Wales under-20 representative. All the pedigree there, and he's been a real great acquisition to Super League in 2017.
If this man had played the full season, you'd have to imagine he'd end this year as the top try scorer in this competition. He gets on the end of almost all the chances that Huddersfield make. Ikehihifo's pace off the mark is devastating, and he was the quickest to be able to react to that opportunity and score again for the Huddersfield side, who were a team, as the match wears on, you started to imagine just could upset almost anybody. You know, we've talked about the unpredictability of the Super League season this year. With Huddersfield make the top 8, they have the capability and the class to beat anyone in it.
Well, I'll tell you what, as Martin Ridyard increases the scoreboard here to a quite unlikely 44 points to 6. I'm going to make special mention for Mamo here. We know about the skill set. The skill set is one thing, but I think you go back to that point where he took the ball there from Ikehihifo. This is the skill, this is the lovely stuff. But the hard work running off the ball in one of the, well, in my opinion, the most aerobically demanding position on the field is second to none.
Casti for Catalan.
Well, contested the restart sometimes pays off. It asks for the Dragons here. They've got the ball back.
Myler, still 17 minutes to go. It's a massive challenge they face, but they need to post some more points, if not for confidence, more than anything else. Here is Walsh, and Gigo goes without it. Another promising position.
Well, we're approaching 2.5 hours of play since the Dragons last scored a try in Super League. Scored early against the Widnes Vikings. Managed to get one here again, but that's just 2 tries in 2.5 hours of play. It isn't a great attacking record, and isn't one that you would think will get them into the top 8. would take a dramatic turn around. The implications of this result for the chairman and the Catalan clubs and the recruitment decision they may make in coaching could be very significant.
Well, it's certainly a job. And Lauren Fresney, I suppose, vindicated to a certain extent. I know he's no longer employed by the Dragons, but I always think that firing the coach is the easiest solution when very often the player, the problem lays on the field with the players.
Well, we saw at the start of the season just how good Greg Bird could be when he played for the Catalan Dragons. Sadly, he missed some games when he was injured at Leeds, and now we suspect he may be out for the rest of the year with that serious knee injury. It looked very serious when he left the field at Widnes. And without him, the Dragons are a completely different team. He almost carries 50% of the team's confidence in his shirt alone. He's not out there, and Luke Walsh doing his best to encourage the less experienced teammates.
And just to clarify the point I was making about coaches and players bearing responsibility, not for 1 second am I suggesting that the Catalan Dragons players are not putting the effort in or don't care. Of course that's not the case, but it's a question about making the right decisions, the ability to make the right decisions under pressure, and working together as a collective, because there's obviously something that's not working at the moment. And pictures we're receiving now of Dale Ferguson, it's obviously a very painful looking injury, probably to the shoulder area, and he's unable to continue, but it'll still be a successful, if painful, trip home for the Huddersfield back rower.
Back down. Danny, stay close, head in.
The minus on a very positive note, a positive night for the Huddersfield Giants. Catalan in possession with Seguier.
Move, Paul! Wait.
Sub in the last 3 since he missed the magic clash against the Giants.
Help!
Margaret.
Move, Ryan! 2, hold, go 2.
Da Costa. Now Myler. Shorter pass this time for Sam Moa.
Move, Oliver! Wait, go Phil.
Seguier again. Walsh goes without it. The referee says knock on.
Well, the passing of some of the less experienced players isn't up to the standard that Luke Walsh needed there. He needed that ball from Paul Seguier, who's attempted to run straight towards the try line, twist and turn the body and deliver that pass. It's something that we see a lot of forwards do and make look easy at times, but it's a difficult skill and one that the young French back row hasn't mastered yet.
Okay, guys, put down.
Deciding drop goal in a 35-34 win for St Helens over the Giants 2 years ago.
You mentioned drop goal, Ben. I go back to that point just before half-time where Richie Myler attempts a drop goal at 22-6 down. Now, obviously the scoreboard and the performance of Huddersfield has borne out what we all thought at the time, and that was a strange decision, but at least it gives you an insight into where the Dragons were mentally. They thought that they were in that game at half-time. Now, that to me would be even more worrying as a Catalan Dragons supporter, that they thought they couldn't read what was happening, they couldn't assess properly what was happening, that they thought that if they dropped a goal, that it was only 2 or 3 converted tries, and not really taking into account the reality, which was that they were nowhere even near the races.
Trailed by 16 at the break.
And that could have been down to just 10 had Louis Anderson scored with that opportunity. He went close to the line, the ball came out, it was the last tackle. And you might say Huddersfield would have gone on and scored even more points anyway, but it would have been fascinating to see what that could have done to the home crowd and the home team.
They've added 4 unanswered tries in this second period as well. They're closing in on the half-century. O'Brien. 25 away, Ikehihifo.
2. Move! Back. Hold. Go. 2.
Adam O'Brien. And Bruff's short pass for Roberts this time.
Move! Hold.
Penalty coming Huddersfield's way, more frustration for Tony Gigo, and you picture that.
It was a nice play from Danny Bruff, how he tried to just thread the pass into Roberts, into the hole. He was inviting him to the space between the 2 defenders.
Okay, Max there.
There's a debate here now what they're going to do. Adam O'Brien will tap. Almost a set-up play, isn't it? I can't see him scoring from there. He did in the first half, though.
Well, in the same way that the points against for the Dragons is so crucial, so it is for Huddersfield in the plus column.
Clear.
Mamo done more than most to contribute to that points column. Hat-trick of tries. Real box office as Paul Clough, still in a metre or so of the line, came off the bench to score his first Huddersfield try against Warrington last week. Brough finds Cudjoe on the bounce. Some momentum lost, but it's gained by McGilvray. McGilvray trying to get over. Repelled at the last by Duport. Looking for his second. Huddersfield hunting a 9th try. Flat ball, comes back for Mamo, he's going to get 4. Jake Mamo with 4 in Perpignan. He got 3 against Castleford, as I said, and now he betters that in the south of France. And there will be a chance for Huddersfield to make it 50 points in a minute.
Well, every team needs a star scorer, and they've got one, haven't they? Just makes it look easy. He's in the right place at the right time, running almost effortlessly here as the gap opens up, throws the dummy out wide. There's too much space. He walks over for another 4 points, and he might well end up the top try scorer anyway. The rate he's going at, he had 2 disallowed last week. It was unfortunate this side scoring 1. He's in tremendous form.
Do you know what, Phil? He's in the right place at the right time. I agree entirely with that. That is arguably the most important aspects of that try. He scored 4, and they're the headlines, and especially the hat-trick try. But underpinning everything from Jake Mamo is a willingness and a work rate that we haven't seen, I don't think, in too many occasions this season. And he deserves all the plaudits that he's going to get for this performance, and how he's going to be able to lift this Huddersfield Giants side now.
Martin Ridyard then from right in front, and it will be 50 points for the Giants in Perpignan.
Now, where's Ian Proctor when you need him? Because as we watch Jake Mamo's 4th again, lovely little interplay, Brough to Clough to Mamo. We'd love our Sky Sports statistician, because I'm not sure there'll be too many more teams that will have come to Perpignan and registered a scoreline like that in Super League history. This is seriously impressive stuff from the Huddersfield Giants.
It's gone 10.
Short restart. It might still come up. It has come up for Catalan Dragons, and Ulrich da Costa in there first.
Strange play by Cudjoe. He didn't even attempt to catch it. It bounced off his thigh, came forward, and now they're back on their own try line defending.
Held! Ruins! 2. Wait. Go. 2.
Can Catalan Dragons get over and double their try tally?
Offside.
Well, the referee says they're offside, so
Plays in front of me. Mamo, whoa!
some pushing and shoving.
Come away. Seb.
As you watch the game, you have to imagine that the board of directors for the Dragons are faced with a difficult decision. You know, they have to make some change, you would imagine. What's currently going on, if that continues, the side just isn't just a one-off, is it? They were completely outplayed against Widnes last week. They've lost convincingly at home here, conceded 50 points. And they need, it strikes me as a person watching from a distance here afar, that they need a new voice. They need to hear a new message in their changing rooms to turn the team's fortunes around.
And it's come at a critical point of the season that they are suffering this run. It's difficult, as you say, Phil, to know where the solution is going to be found as Anderson moves in.
You've gone back through the rope.
Remember, these teams will swap places in the table in 8.5 minutes or so. Huddersfield with an eye on the top 8, and Catalan in that dreaded bottom 4 and facing a fight in the qualifiers, but they're over here. Sam Moa turned 31 on Wednesday.
Well, I'll tell you what,
present for him.
Sorry, Ben. Sam Moa may well have scored. The man's injured again, and it's a little consolation. As I pose the question, Ian Proctor's come to the rescue. This is the biggest victory in Perpignan, notwithstanding this try. 2009 was as close as they got to this scoreline. They posted 30 points away in Perpignan back in 2009. So it's 8 years ago, and they've broken that record. It's a significant milestone for the Huddersfield Giants.
Real statement, real marker laid down. It'll be the 4th win from 6 in Super League. It's their biggest win under Rick Stone as well.
Well, Sam Moore was the try-scoring machine at the moment for the Dragons. He got their only try last week at Widnes. He's got one of only 2 here today for them. He puts himself, doesn't he? Does hard work, support on the inside and walks over. He had another one disallowed too last week. He seems to have pulled his calf perhaps as he went in for that try. Lee Walsh knows this has been a disappointing afternoon. A long and lengthy discussion into the evening now in Perpignan as the players try to discuss how they can turn this situation around.
Straight back to the UK after this game. Huddersfield flew in this morning. They will be delighted with the day's work. Sam Moore. Try for Catalan Dragons.
Well, he's lost it. Great tackle from Oliver Roberts. Showing the habits here now of a team who can trouble anybody. Sam Moore, an experienced player, played in the NRL, played several years in Super League. He's charged the ball back, having scored a try. And he's been embarrassed here, hasn't he, with a brilliant shot from the young Huddersfield back rower.
Well, it just shows you what that end of the table can produce. They've had all sorts of problems this season. They look like, well, they will now have won 4 from the last 6, and that's elevated them out of the bottom 4 and into that top 8 position at the expense of the Catalan Dragons.
Let's go.
Superb performance.
Sam Moore tries in his last 3, incidentally. That's Hull, Widnes, and now against Huddersfield. 5 metres away though, the Giants, in the shape of Paul Clough. O'Brien. Danny Brough for Mamo. Looking for 5, of course. It comes back for Cudjoe, and McGillvray is in for his own hat-trick. In fact, it's 2, I beg your pardon, for McGillvray.
Well, it's one of those bizarre tries. I'm not surprised you're confused there, Ben. It's bounced off everybody, hasn't it? The referee shouts back to one. As a Catalan player, is it the winger?
Yeah, it's Duport gets a hand to it, and Cudjoe reacts the quicker and then gets the ball out to the intended recipient from that original Marmo pass. It counts the same. It's 4. It could be 6. And that winning margin goes from 38 to 42 points, a record in the Super League era with a kick to come. This could be a defining moment in the season for Jermaine McGillvray and the Huddersfield Giants, but sadly it could also be a defining moment in the season of this Catalan Dragons side.
Time off.
What does Jerome Guisset do? What does Michael Monaghan do? It will be 1 win in 9 in League and Cup.
Well, I'll tell you what they need to do, Ben. They need to appoint a head coach, and quick, because Jerome Guisset and Michael Monaghan were part of that original coaching setup headed by Lauren Fraser. So it's hard to think they'd have any kind of different or significant message to offer the team.
Ridyard from the sideline. 2 more points for Huddersfield Giants.
Well, we saw Lee score 50 points this week, and I didn't think anybody would top that, but Huddersfield's performance perhaps surpasses the brilliance that we saw from the Centurions here. To travel to the south of France, and bookmakers thought this game would end up, well, less than a point to split the sides. They've won by almost 50.
And 100 points in a week for the Giants as well, following on from that impressive win over Warrington on home soil. Inside the last 4 minutes, Ikehihifo for the Giants.
Well, the aim for the Giants now is let's see out this last 3 or 4 minutes. Going hard and going strong, because if you relax and slacken off for a minute, then you could be adding injuries to Dale Ferguson's on that plane journey back home.
It's not, John. They want another try for Jake Marmo. That's the aim here, I think.
They're just greedy, Phil. You're greedy. We've seen 4 from the man already. What's wrong with you?
He wants 5, and McGillvray's not been surprised here with him. He wants more than the two. Offloads it backwards. Murphy in support.
Knock on.
Oh,
Knock on though, says Chris Kendall. He's running out of time if he's going to get that fifth try, Jake Mamo.
It's a good habit though, isn't it? It's a good trait. They're not satisfied with 56 points. They want more.
I'll tell you what, they are. This is the first time me and you are going to disagree today. It's taken us till the 77th minute. I'll tell you now, Huddersfield Giants will be more than satisfied with 56. In fact, I would imagine if you said you don't have to get on a plane, you don't have to go to the south of France, we'll give you 46 against the Dragons. They would have taken it and sat at home. It's been a marvellous weekend for them.
Need another second row.
Fourth win in 6 matches. They will replace
They're the form team now, Ben, aren't they? The form team in the bottom end of that table.
at exactly the right time, John. And they will replace the Dragons in that top 8.
Move, Oliver! Wait.
And it's a long journey home, whether you're from Perpignan Airport, I dare say it will be this time of year, or if not from Girona. It's a bus ride, a sore spell of waiting time in the airport departure lounge. Well, it'll be made all the more sweeter and all the more easy to handle with a victory like this under your belt.
Ball comes free from the grasp of Luke Walsh. Catalan next up, they go to Warrington. They've still got the likes of Wigan, St Helens and Castleford still to face.
Yeah, and Luke Walsh loses the ball though. The referee said a knock on. It's late in the day, and the Dragons, they've almost had enough, haven't they? They can't wait to hear that hooter.
Cut down, guys. Adam, head in the scrum, head in.
Will there be a late 5th try for Jake Mamo? They're very deep at the moment in the shape of McGillvray, the Giants.
Stand! Wait, go, that's one.
There's O'Brien. Here is Jake Mamo.
They've had to be incredibly patient with him as well,
Two.
haven't they? He only made his introduction 8 or 9 weeks ago.
Move, Sam, away!
Boy, it's been some contribution since then.
Fine.
Shut it down!
Still free.
Shut it down!
Ferguson into the tackle of Nabil Jalou.
Move! Hold. Hold.
Get up, take it, get up!
A debut that he will want to forget. As Ikahifu is dumped by Walsh.
Kick up, kick up, kick up!
Go.
And Brough will just dink the ball into touch on this near side. Job done for Huddersfield.
Well, what an amazing effort from Danny Brough. He walked off. We didn't imagine we'd see him at the end of the game, controlling the match and calmly. It doesn't look like he's even broken sweat now at this point. Puts the ball over the sideline. He just hopes that the seconds tick away and the hooter blows. They've done more than enough here to satisfy themselves and their supporters. Referee has stopped the clock. We will see more play.
Been a great week for Jake Mamo. 23 last Tuesday and 4 tries on Saturday.
Pat down.
Catalan
Down.
will end the match in possession.
Head in. Let's go, volley. Out, time back on.
More significantly, Ben, they'll end the match in 9th position on the table,
Move, Paul!
outside that top 8.
Wait. Go,
And it's Huddersfield who will deprive them of that 8th spot. That's how crucial this match was. 1 place between them prior to today, 1 point between them and Huddersfield with a comprehensive win in Perpignan as the full-time hooter goes 56 points to 12. 4 tries for Jake Mamo. And despair for the Catalan Dragons. Where do they go from here? Watch Paul Ayton there and Danny Brough
Enjoy Sky Sports Live. On all screens, on the go, and the best bits on demand.